The American swing is the best exercise ever.
What? Grüezi miteinander, Gregory from Lebe hier. Cori from Redefining Strength is doing great work. I remember back in the day when I was following her and I was checking out some exercises for our classes and for our training. Now, she recently said something about the kettlebell, which I find very interesting, and I want to react to it.
The American swing is the best exercise ever.
What? Check out what she does.
Just kidding. Did you think I was serious? Hey guys, it's Cori from Redefining Strength.
What's
Today
up,
I want
Cori?
to talk about the American swing and how this movement is often demonized and whether or not it really should be. And I won't use it with clients because I'm not an expert in it. And I want to have mastered a movement to a certain extent if I'm going to implement the movement with my clients and in my training program.
That's a huge portion of self-awareness. That's why I think Cori is there where she deserves to be. Maybe this movement or maybe this training style is not suited for me because maybe I'm not skilled enough. Maybe I need more practice. Maybe I need to understand the exercise better. So hats off to you, Cori. I think self-awareness is something that we all need a little bit more of.
I mentioned in my kettlebell science video that you could do a CrossFit style swing or American swing, and people got incredibly mad about this movement. So mad that that's all that they focused on.
Share constructive feedback and don't get mad at the messenger. Don't get mad at Cori because she now just said, maybe I don't understand the exercise in its detail. So maybe if she says this, then we can give some constructive feedback. So hence, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video.
Injury risk just waiting to happen. And the simple fact is no move is inherently bad.
Cori, I have to politely disagree with you there. I do see where she comes from. If you decide to start moving, we just had recently a session with a client yesterday, and he said, listen, what I do now with these 2 sessions with you in the studio with us, and just starting to implement some absolute basics in the nutrition, is 100% more than I've ever done before. This is a huge win. So even with these reactions that I do and giving feedback to form and critiquing it in a constructive manner, at least that's what I believe what I do. Sometimes it may be misunderstood, and I do understand this. Sometimes this may serve the impression that it's all about perfect form. And yes, it is to some extent, because when you work with kettlebells, especially kettlebells, you have free weight and you have the ballistic element combined. So that's very difficult to master for people. So moving is great. Moving is awesome. And now about the American swing, I do think that it's a bad exercise because of the reasons that I'm going to share once we talk about it a little bit further.
Whoa, maybe there's a study I haven't seen about how bad this move really is.
Research is important. While it is important, I kind of dialed it down a little bit because through my conversation with Dan John, I found out that sometimes experience from a guy who's been on the field, a strength coach who has been on the field for over 40 years, serves more value than just a study from the science folks who never even touched the barbell. This doesn't mean that research is not important. I believe it's important, but it's not the only piece of the puzzle when it comes to proper execution and finding out what exercises works best for us.
So diving into the research, what did I really find? Honestly, there weren't really many studies showing that either one was necessarily evil or had to be avoided.
Science about kettlebells is so rare. You find it so seldomly. Because it's a tool that is so young in the Western world, there's not a lot of appreciation for science when it comes to kettlebells because the market is probably still too small. And now things are changing, which I think is good. But we cannot trust on the science issue on a topic that has been so rarely and randomly even studied. And even if there are studies, the only study that comes to mind right now is the Mortara et al. Review. He and his colleagues review a lot of different endeavors when it comes to kettlebells. And when I look at the methods, how they were applying methodology of training with kettlebells, I was like, wow, sometimes they don't even understand how to use the kettlebell properly.
Even StrongFirst, considered an authority in the kettlebell world, states that in general, like anything else, you can't say that overhead swings are good or bad.
So just check out this article, and we want to go through it. In general, like anything else, you can't say that overhead swings are good or bad. For some people, they are appropriate and beneficial. For others, they're just bad. It goes back to applying the right drill to the right person at the right time for the right reason. Save your friends from their bad swings. Yeah, that's what I see. You know, sometimes we mow the lawn while the house is on fire. We focus on one thing. They rarely do an overhead swing, and then we focus too much time on it, and then we could just correct and give some feedback on the swing in and all by itself. I want to go through the video in and all by itself, and then I can give you my point of view why I think the overhead swing is a problem.
And you can even find Pavel doing overhead swings on YouTube as a precursor to the snatch.
Yes, and that was an old video of Pavel. And if you check out this video, how he does his swings look terrible. No disrespect to the master Pavel Tsatsouline. So it developed from there. And while there are some exercises that maybe Pavel has done, maybe now he changed his opinion. There are some exercises that I have done that I'm not doing anymore. I don't want to put myself on a pedestal with Pavel. What I want to say is sometimes I've done exercises where I realized, wow, it's probably not the best way to go. So I've stopped doing them.
Let's face it, most people are sitting at a desk for 9 hours a day. And this leads to forward head posture as well as thoracic and shoulder rounding.
Yes, 100%. So that's something that we as coaches have to take care of, mobilize the client and open up their T-spine. 100%, I do agree.
I do 100% see how adding in the overhead movement could lead to injury. Any overhead exercise then could lead to injury.
So interesting what she sees, and I see her points. But throughout the video, there's one thing missing. I'm going to share it at the end.
Deadlift, the snatch, the kettlebell swing, all of these have risks associated with them, and depending on who you talk to, they're going to demonize them.
The kettlebell in the Western world hasn't existed very long. So this is a terminology or a term that was coined for something that was developed just recently. Deadlift, ancient exercise. Farmer's walk, ancient exercise. Bench, ancient. Squat, ancient. These are exercises that have been able to stand the test of time and the fire of scrutinizing the exercise and the movement and saying, wow, it is incredibly beneficial. So, and then John calls it the cost to benefit ratio. There's always some cost involved when you start lifting. There's always a little injury risk, but the benefits outweigh the risks. So with the American swing, because it's such a new exercise, I think it's great that we are looking at it through a different lens and say, well, it has to stand the test of time and the fire of peer review.
And the simple fact is we have to stop, instilling our personal beliefs onto an exercise. We have to remember that we can use different variations to get different results and even better results for our clients.
Different training modalities, that's something that I've talked with Brittany Van Dijk about. This is something that's a very interesting topic. I also believe that we have to make sure that our identity doesn't influence our thinking too much. However, where I differ a little bit is the reason why I'm so keen on the basics and why I think that Joel Seatman, Functional Patterns, and these funny strength coaches who use Bosu balls with kettlebells, well, these are just great marketers. They want to sell a new product and make it look like they have the secret, when in fact it's not a secret. It's the press, the squat, the hinge, the anti-rotation, rotation, the carry, overhead, press, these basic human movements, these are the ones that work. And then there's exercises who have been proven over hundreds of years globally that they have been proven to work. And that's the exercises that I believe most people can apply when they start working out, because I believe most people need most bang for your buck exercises. I want you to do exercises that are worth your time, and anything else is maybe more. Dan John coins it more. I would even say some exercises just useless. They serve no value.
All of the opportunity and all the diversity of movement out there so that you can help someone get to their goals and even tweak the exercises that they're using to get better results faster.
Please don't misunderstand this as an attack against Cori. Like I said, I like what she does. I just maybe disagree in some points. This may be troublesome for your lower back. And now if you think, well, not every exercise is bad and not every execution is a problem, then let me tell you, if you keep doing the Turkish get up like this, you may end up with some problem in your lower back. So you have to understand the side hinge. So if nobody comes along and tells you this and says, Cori, listen, don't go down on the Turkish get up like this. Use the proper movement to engage in a side hinge to protect your lower back or your lower part of your spine. If we don't say that this might be bad, then we will not improve. So here's the point. What was missing in the article from StrongFirst, what has probably been changed from Pavel in his thinking with the exercise from this old video, and what she doesn't mention in the video is the problem that is attached to flexing your shoulder. What does flexion mean? Flexing your shoulder means you bring your upper arm upwards. So now we're flexing the arm. No problem. And she's right. If somebody has mobility issues, some people don't even are able to do this. But then they have to see a physiotherapist, in my opinion. Now, what we do is if we do the overhead swing, we have to grab the kettlebell like this. If we put our arms in the overhead position like this, what happens mostly is you're not just only rotating your forearm, you're internally rotating your whole arm. Now you're flexing your arm and internally rotating the humerus, the big bone up here in the scapula. This might lead to spacing problems. You might hurt your bursa, you might hurt your ligaments, your tendons, and your muscles, especially the rotator cuff muscles, one of them especially. Impingement may happen up here. That's what I believe Cori was missing. And I don't care whether you have great mobility or you have bad mobility. I have good mobility, and I will never do this exercise because it puts my shoulder in a troublesome position. Now, if we get the arm overhead, and what we do is we externally rotate the shoulder, you know what happens in that case? The shoulder is free to move. There's much more space. So bursa, ligaments, tendons, and muscles can breathe. Let's put this in perspective when she says, I have a client who wants to do exercises and do overhead work. What would be better in that case? Doing a snatch. Or, dialing it down, doing a press, where your arm can stay externally rotated. There might be people who have enough space, no problem. Internal rotation, flexion, no problem. But there is a high chance that many people will have trouble because of the anatomical structure of the shoulder. Because even people who don't have a problem yet, maybe it starts developing because we put the shoulder in a delicate position. So that's my point. I disagree with some notions that Cori is having, and at the same time I agree with some notions. See, that's why I think it's so awesome if we gather as much information as possible, gather the data, then we can talk about it, and maybe we can all learn and benefit from it. And on a final note, guys, I really want you to engage in this discussion. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What I'm so incredibly grateful for is that we have built this strong community that I have learned a lot from. So what is your opinion? Do you think there are bad exercises? Do you think there are good exercises? Can we classify them? And what's your opinion on the American swing? Looking forward to your feedback in the comment section. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it, consider subscribing if you want to see more kettlebell content. And if you're looking for a kettlebell program that builds you up from a beginner to a slowly advanced trainee in the course of about 3 months, and you maybe want to combine it with some easy to follow nutrition coaching because maybe you want to lose weight or you want to get in shape, then check out 90 Days of Kettlebells. You'll find the link in the description. 14-day free trial included.